Well, hello, happy Thursday. Welcome to Elegant Sentiments today. I'm Sheryl Abernathy. I'm the owner of Elegant Sentiments, and this is our weekly card share. This is weekly card share number 74. And today I have some products from Lisa Horton and Spellbinders that I'm going to be using for today's project. This is one of my favorite stencils. This also has a coordinating embossing folder, and a die, but I'm only going to be using the stencil for today's card. And then I've got a press plate die, so I'm going to hot foil my sentiment for today's card. I need to do a sympathy card, so I'm going to do the sending strength. And then for my inks, I've got 4 different colors here. They're all color shift. And so I've got Avocado Gold, Summer Sky, Watermelon Spritz, and Lagoon Punch. So those are the ink colors that I'm going to be using. So we're going to get started with our inking. So let me move some of this out of the way. And then I'll show you the project that I made. Really simple one. Here it is. We've got the hot foiled sentiment, and then we inked up. I did change the color. This color is a different color shift ink. This is Coral Waters that I use for this one, but I'm going to try the watermelon to see which one I like better. And then you can see that matte shine if I get the light to show it. But it's got a pretty little shimmer, but it's a matte shimmer. So that is my sample. And I'm going to bring in my Ultimate and I did my cards. This is all white cardstock. This piece is 4 by 5 1/4, and this piece is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I have my A2 size card base. So these are the 3 cards that I'm going to be using today. And then I'm going to create my border again using some masking magic, because I want that 1/4 inch border around my stencil. You know what, before I do that, I need to make sure that I have my stencil in the right place. So let's take a look here. I'm going to pick through and find one of the stencils that has the biggest. I think stencil number 3 has the majority of the height and depth. So let's see. I'm going to put that on there like that. Yeah, I think that's how we'll do it. And then I'll put this down, and then I'll do my taping. Okay, it's a little crooked, but it's gonna be okay. Got something on my paper there. Let me see if I can get this a little more straight than I have it. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't really matter, but just that little smidge. Okay, so now I know that my paper is in the right place for my stencils. And so let me put these back in order. 1, 2, 3. There's 5 stencils here, 6 stencils actually. So, but it does stencil very quickly. And now I'm going to go ahead and add my masking magic to the edges of my piece of cardstock here. Again, this is 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm just going to create my little border. Again, I really like this stuff. I used to use it. I had some years ago, and I used it all up, and I never really bought any more. And then when I took that class last winter, I was reminded of it. So I bought myself some more. I really like this look because it looks like it's actually another layer without actually having to layer. So that makes it nice and easy. And so we're going to add my last piece here. I'm just lining that up with the edge. There we go. Okay, so we have our border there, nice and easy. And then we'll go ahead and start with our stenciling. I'm going to just go in order as soon as I grab them up here. So the first stencil is the outline of, it's the soft color of the flowers. So I'm going to get some paper here so I can run off. And I'm going to start with my watermelon spritz, and I just want a really faint line of color there. I can put this up here actually. Just get some, and then I want to take most of this color off of my brush, and because I just want a nice light color on this stencil, because we'll be adding more color with the future stencil. So I want this one nice and light, and it almost looks like you can barely see it, but it's pretty visible. Okay, that's about all we need for stencil 1. I think I've got it fairly even. And it doesn't need to be perfectly even for this, because flowers have lots of layer. Okay, so that is our first stencil, and then we're going to come back in with more color for stencil number 2. And I'm sticking with my watermelon spritz, but this time I want more color. So I take it and then just come in a little deeper around the tips of the petals, and then bring that color on down in over the whole flower. So you're getting a little bit, and then these folds, I want to pay attention to the folds and make sure that those are nice and deep. These little, I really need a tiny detail stencil brush, but we'll make do with this to get those little tiny folds. They're very little, but since I'm doing the whole tip a darker, I don't think it matters that much. And then we'll just keep going all around, adding this watermelon spritz color. Bring it down. I really love magnolias. I don't know if they grow in Ohio. I've never really gone to a nursery to find out. But when we had gone to the Carolinas with my dad once, they were everywhere and they were so pretty. And I just loved it. Love them. I wish they could grow here if they can. That's something I need to check out, because I would love to have one of those in my yard. I think they're pretty. I like almost all flowers though. Although I don't have much of a green thumb, I still like them. If they're fairly hardy, I can keep them alive. But if they're on the delicate end, not so much. Just going around those sides there and coming onto this last flower Yeah, I really do need my detail brush. Yeah, well, I'm far enough along now. We'll just keep going. Just keep it going. Just want to make sure I have some variation of color on everything. I don't want it all the same tone. Okay, I think that will do it for my, oops, nope, well, I'm just gonna have to break down and get my detail brush because I want this little fold. Where was it? Here it is. I want this one to have a little more color than the other part of it. And then I can get these sides a little better too with this detail brush. Yeah, I should have just followed my first mind when I started. Okay, so I think that will do it for these petals. And then I'm going to start working on the leaves. On the leaves, I'm going to use the two different greens. I'm going to do the Avocado Gold and the Summer Sky. And I think what I'm going to do is start with the Summer Sky and then bring in the Avocado Gold to tamp down that color just a wee bit. And I'm making all of my leaves and the stem too, it's all the same color. You can obviously, if you want to do brown or darker color for your stems, you can do that different color, but I'm just going to go with this. And this is kind of it's a as you can see, a pretty bright green, but once I add the avocado to it, it's not going to be quite as bright. I'm just starting at the base and carrying that color all the way up. I've been using this one a lot. I'm going to have to get myself another ink pad to hold me over until the re-inkers come out for this color. Because I really like this color. It blends nicely with a lot of different colors, so I find I'm using it quite a bit. So just keep going. Stick it down here at the base. This is a simple little card. All my cards are easy though. If you watched me, I like easy and elegant. That is my style. And I tend to get quiet when I'm adding ink. I don't know why. Starting into relax mode, because this is so relaxing to me. I had a crazy week this week, and so I'm happy to be in my craft room just chilling out for a little bit. But everything, it did finally calm down as the week progressed, so that's a good thing. Count my blessings. Okay, I think I got color everywhere. Get a little more there on these bigger leaves. And then I'm going to come in with the Avocado Gold, which is a deeper green. Get rid of Summer Sky and add Avocado Gold. And we'll do the same thing. The next stencil is more leaves, so we'll kind of do the same thing. This one is a little has a lot more ink on it than the other color. And you get you get a different green when you mix these two together. And I just thought it looked nice with the coral water. So we'll see what we think about the watermelon spritz. We may like it and we may not, but we can always do it again. I think it'll be fine because the two colors are really oops, that's a little darker than I wanted. Got a lot more ink on there than I thought I did, but that's okay. We'll just make these a little greener. I had a ton of ink on that brush right there, but that's okay. We're just changing that color up a little bit, tamping it down so it's not so bright. But I didn't want it the complete green of the Avocado Gold. So, all right, I think that'll do it for this stencil. And it's starting to take shape. And here we have another set of leaves. I think we've got 3 sets of leaves all together. Lots of leaves in this, so we'll bring that. We'll just do the same kind of, you know what? No, I'm going to do this one the opposite. I'm going to make these darker. How about that? Let's try that and see how we like it. We'll just go with the Avocado Gold and maybe add a little Summer Sky to add some variety. Kind of going around that one, leaving some of it white for when we come back with the Summer Sky. There's lots of ink on this brush. I have to remember that as I'm going along. I'll just feather that out to the end. Maybe add a teeny bit on this tip and along that side. And start at the base on this one too and just bring it out the same way. Have it dark and then carry it up. Add a little green on my tips. Go on both those sides, get a little more green. Grab over here. Yeah, I'm just going to let that be dark. And this little guy. And we'll just carry it all the way up to the top. And I don't have to worry about the tips because you can see where the, well, not on this one, but there are some parts on here that aren't going to actually show because they're laying on top of the masking. So you don't have to worry about that. And I'm going to wipe some of this green off, and then I'm going to add my summer sky, but I don't want my all this ink to get on my summer sky brush. So we'll wipe up a little bit of that and then bring back the summer sky. And I'll probably, let me see what I can do with what's on. Yeah, I think I'll just make do with the ink. Now I'm going to have to add more because there's not enough. Thought I might have had enough, but not so much. Just enough yellow to change that color a little bit on some of the leaves. Okay, that looks decent enough. Let's see what we got. Yeah, that looks just fine to me. And then we will go with our last stencil, because this the sixth stencil will put detail on the leaves, and I don't really want the detail or that extra detail on the leaves. So I'm just going to go with stencil number 5 as my last stencil for this one. And going over these folds, I'm going a little heavy because I'm going to go pretty heavy with the Avocado Gold on those 2 leaves. There's 3 folds in there that I'm gonna get pretty good. This one is one down, and then this is just a regular old leaf. Okay, now I'm going to come in with Avocado Gold and darken those up a little bit and hit my flower centers. I'll go ahead and darken these up. This one too. Grab these, and this will just go ahead and add a little extra, so it's not quite so bright yellow. Just a little bit darker than it was. That was still pretty bright. Let's get a little more color on you. There. I think that is it. I do want to use, maybe on that 6th one, there's another piece to the flower center, but I don't know, I think it's fine just like that. So I'm gonna leave that, and then I want to get my bigger brush and my Lagoon Punch, and add a little bit of shading around this. Take almost all the ink off of this brush. There. And then just go around the edges with this bluey green Lagoon Punch color. Just adding a little light shading. Oops, I got a little heavy right there. Go back there. I might have to darken it all up to make it look even. We'll see when we get done. Oops. Hand is right there in that ink. That was not my intention. Put it on and take it off. Let me move that. How about that? Okay. So just coming in around those edges. And I think add a little more over here. Okay, well, I think that's probably about as even as I'm going to be able to get it, since I pushed down really hard in that corner. And then I'll go ahead and take this off. And we've got our nice little edging there. This masking magic is sticking to my fingers. Okay, so there is our lovely little magnolia. And then, let's see, I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to bring in my layer piece. As soon as I can find where I put it. This is A2 size, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm just going to go around the edges and get a deep rim of color of the I'm going to put all this ink on my tacky mat. I got a bunch of ink on there, don't need this much. And so I'm just going to take the Lagoon Punch and go around the edges. And here's where I need a piece of paper to hold. Let's see. Here's the scrap. I'll use this just to keep me from putting inky fingers all over. It doesn't matter that much actually, because what's in the center is going to be covered up anyway. But so I'm just going around these edges a bit with this Lagoon Punch to get a nice color border for our flower. And then we can work on adding our sentiment to it. Oh, I just dropped my pokey tool on the floor. Pick it back up. Okay. All right. Look at my hands. Ink everywhere. Let me get this ink off. And if I get that on my inked part, I'm not going to be happy. I'll just keep going, add nice deep color on that edge. This is a pretty color too. It's I don't know if it comes through as well on the camera, but it's a nice deep tealy color. Like a name fits it, like a lagoon. Nice tropical lagoon. I'm getting more ink on the paper than I am on my cardstock. What is with me today? I'm just determined to have inky fingers. Last little bit here. Lots of ink right there in that corner. Okay, so I think this is good enough for our purposes, and move this out and sit this over to the side and let it dry till we're ready for it. And cover up my ink, and then I can bring in my Glimmer Hot foil, and we will foil our sentiment onto our card base. So, not card base, our card front. So this sentiment that I'm using, again, it is from, where did I put my thing? It's the Spellbinders. Oh, here it is. It's Spellbinders. This is a little messages sentiments, and it's got a bunch of little messages, and I'm using the one that says sending strength, and it has the plates. You could die cut it if you didn't want to risk foiling onto your project. You could foil it and die cut it and then add it that way, but I'm going to give it a try and see how it works out. Since it's smooth, the card is still smooth, I think we should be okay, but we're about to find out. So I'm going to use the hinge method for this one. So I'm just going to put my sentiment down on here and get some low tack tape. And we'll lift this. Well, I'm going to lift this up, and then I'm going to put I had a little piece of foil already cut. And since this is backwards, the foil goes facing up. Normally it's the other way, but because our sentiment is going down, you always want your shiny part of your foil to face. So we'll see how this works out. So I'm going to put a piece of tape there, and I'm going to get another little piece of tape and put it over here. Okay, let's see. All right. So we'll see how this goes. Oh goodness. Turn my machine on. I should have did that before I started getting my thing ready, but hopefully it won't take it too long. Yeah. Hopefully it won't take it too long. So I think I'm going to let well enough alone for that. And let me get my little scissors and try and cut away some of this excess foil. It doesn't really matter a whole lot, but I just don't want to do what I'm about to do, which is cut the foil too close to the sentiment. So I think that's good enough. Get this little corner here. And we'll see how I'm using it's the matte gold foil that I had cut a piece off. It's this is it here. So it's got a shine, but it's a matte shine, and I think that matte matches nicely with the matte on this ink. It's got a shine, but it's matte. So we're going to try it and see how it goes. I know on the bigger sentiment, I probably could have kept it on there a little longer than I did because it foiled. Let me see if you can. It foiled, but there are little pieces there, just teeny, not real visible, but I know it. So I said, well, we'll try a smaller sentiment, and I'm going to leave it on a little bit longer to see if that addresses the problem. I hope this is straight. It looks like it is, but if not, we'll have a crooked sentiment. And I will, off camera, foil it and die cut it and put it over top to take care of that. But hopefully I won't need to do that. Let me get a drink of water here. Excuse me. Almost ready. I should have turned that on much sooner. But while we're waiting, I can show you some of the projects that I did this week for Lisa Horton's Live on Monday. I did this one, and I did it in a, oh my gosh, I just put ink all over this. Well, this, let me wipe my hands off so I don't do it. Don't completely ruin it. But so this is the one, this is one of her new compositions dies. So I used just that die set and some ink and embellishments to make this card. It was pretty easy to do. For there, I did these colors, and I did a purple one that I don't know where it's at. And then for my blog that I didn't post yesterday, this is a simple black and white card, and it is, I still have these products out here. This is called A Posy of Roses, and there's so much detail in these roses. But it's really nice, very simple. I just die cut it out with embossed it and die cut it out with a scallop and added a sentiment, and there you go, a beautiful black and white card. I love black and white cards. Okay, so we're ready. So I'm going to put this on upside down. And I'll turn the timer on. And you know what? I think because this sentiment is going, I'm going to foil it across the grain. A lot of times it gets better contact, so I'm going to turn it that way before I run it through. And I can get my Platinum 6 ready over here off to the side. And once our timer stops blinking, we'll be ready to see if it worked or if we're going to be foiling later. Okay, so our timer has stopped changing. Adding my 2 plates here. And we'll run it through and see what we get. And then I need to let this off. And oh, I'm a little concerned. Let's see. Oh, well, it turned out just beautifully. And it's a nice, soft sentiment. It's not as bold as the other one, but for the purposes, I don't know if you can, if I hold it like that, you can see it, but it's got a nice matte gold sending strength. So that worked out just fine. I'll turn this off and move it over here. And we can go ahead and finish putting our card together. So we've got our little matting layer that's going to go on our card front. And got some ink here. Ink. Tape. You can use tape or glue, but I've got the tape right here, so we'll just add that onto our layer. Try to get it straight. Oops. Well, I am all thumbs tonight. I tell you. Spent too much time outside in that heat today, which I rarely do, but I had a lot of things I had to get done today, so forced me out there. And then the only thing we need to do now is add our front to the card base, and then we can add a few embellishments, and this one will be done. Okay. And we'll make sure we have a good burnish on that. And I've got some Gold Mix gems from Spellbinders, and they've got 2 colors. There's a darker color at the top and a lighter color at the bottom. So I'm going to go for the lighter color since this is a lighter color gold. And you can actually bypass this step because I think it's pretty just the way it is. But we'll add a few gems just for good measure. And I think I'm just going to add maybe 3. I'm not going to add as many as I did in my sample. So we can keep it really soft and delicate. And I've got my triangle of gems, and that completes the project. So here's the sample that I did, and then here's the other project. Can't really see my whole sentiment, but it says sending strength. It's hard to pick up the sending at the angle of the camera, but that is it. I hope that you like the project. If you do, please give me a thumbs up. And I thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you. If you're watching live and you're here now, thank you for being here. And for those that may watch it on replay, thank you for watching as well. I appreciate you so much. I hope that you have a fantastic week and get some time to craft yourself a little kindness and have a wonderful week. We'll see you next Thursday. Bye for now.